Let's talk about something we all wish we were better at understanding people. Not just hearing what they say, but really knowing what's going on beneath the surface. Because if we could do that, we'd make better decisions. We'd know who to trust, when to speak up, and when to step back. Now, let me be clear, this is not about manipulation. It's not about tricks or deception. It's about connection, about learning to see people as they truly are in a world where so much is hidden behind polite smiles and carefully chosen words. So how do we do it? How do we read people without them knowing? First, body language is the first language. Before we ever learn to talk, we learn to move. We cross our arms when we feel defensive. We lean in when we're engaged. We fidget when we're uncomfortable. Most of the time, people aren't even aware they're doing it. But if you pay attention, their bodies will tell you the truth before their words do. Second, micro-expressions reveal the truth. The human face is a traitor. No matter how controlled someone is, emotions slip out in quick, almost invisible flashes. A flicker of sadness before they say, "I'm fine." A brief curl of the lip before they say, "I'm happy for you." These moments are like a lightning strike in a dark room. If you're watching, you'll see it. Then there's tone. The way someone speaks is just as important as what they say. When someone hesitates before answering, when their voice suddenly drops or speeds up, it's a signal. We're wired to listen to words, but the real meaning is often hiding in the pauses. Here's something fascinating: mirroring. When we feel comfortable with someone, we naturally mimic their posture, gestures, even their breathing. But when someone suddenly stops mirroring you, that's a sign. Maybe they're uncomfortable. Maybe they disagree with you, but don't want to say it out loud. Either way, something has shifted. And this what's not said is just as important as what is. If you ask someone how they feel and they take a long pause before answering, or they suddenly get vague, pay attention. Silence is rarely empty. It's full of unspoken emotions. Long before we learn to speak, we communicate with our bodies. A baby doesn't need words to express hunger, discomfort, or joy. It reaches, it cries, it giggles. This instinct never leaves us. As adults, we continue to express ourselves through nonverbal cues, often without realizing it. Body language is our first and most honest form of communication. It speaks before we do, and it rarely lies. Think about the last time you were in a conversation where someone's words didn't quite match their posture. Maybe they said, "I'm fine," but their arms were tightly crossed, their shoulders were hunched, and their gaze was fixed on the floor. The words told you one thing, but their body told you another. If you ignored the body language, you missed the real message. The way we stand, move, and gesture can reveal a wealth of emotions: confidence, anxiety, frustration, attraction, or even deception. When someone is nervous, they might fidget, tap their fingers, or avoid eye contact. When they're excited or engaged, they lean in, widen their eyes, and use open-handed gestures. If they're feeling defensive or closed off, they might cross their arms, turn their body away, or clench their jaw. Even small shifts in body language can signal major emotional changes. Imagine you're speaking to a friend, and at the start of the conversation, they're facing you, mirroring your posture and nodding as you talk. But then, as you bring up a certain topic, their body stiffens, they lean slightly away, or they suddenly check their phone. That's a signal. Something about what you just said made them uncomfortable. They may not verbalize it, but their body already has. One of the most telling signs in body language is posture. People who feel confident and in control naturally take up more space. They stand tall, shoulders back, chin lifted. This is often referred to as power posing. On the flip side, when someone feels uncertain, intimidated, or anxious, they shrink, hunched shoulders, crossed arms, or hands stuffed into pockets. Another key body language indicator is eye contact. Eyes are often called the windows to the soul, and for good reason. When someone is engaged, their eye contact is steady but natural. When they're uncomfortable or hiding something, they may avoid eye contact, blink rapidly, or look away at key moments. Conversely, overly intense eye contact can be a tactic of deception, or dominance. It's a way of trying too hard to convince or intimidate. And then there's gesturing, how people use their hands while speaking. Open, expressive hand gestures typically signal honesty and confidence, while hidden or fidgety hands may indicate nervousness or deception. Someone who keeps their hands in their pockets or behind their back may be subconsciously hiding something, whether it's literal or emotional. The key to reading body language effectively is pattern recognition. One single action doesn't always mean something on its own. Just because someone crosses their arms doesn't always mean they're defensive. It could simply mean they're cold. But when you observe a cluster of behaviors, a stiff posture, a tight jaw, a lack of eye contact all happening together, that's when you get a clearer picture of what's really going on. At the core of it all, body language is about authenticity. Words can be rehearsed, but our bodies respond instinctively. If you want to understand people, listen with your eyes as much as your ears. Because while words can deceive, the body almost always tells the truth. Our faces are incredibly expressive, capable of conveying a vast range of emotions in just a fraction of a second. Sometimes we consciously control our expressions, masking our true feelings behind a polite smile or a neutral demeanor. But no matter how well we try to hide what we're feeling, the truth always finds a way to slip through, often in the form of microexpressions. Microexpressions are involuntary, split-second facial expressions that reveal a person's genuine emotions before they have a chance to suppress them. Unlike normal facial expressions, which can be controlled and manipulated, microexpressions happen so quickly, lasting only about 1/25th to 1/5 of a second, that most people aren't even making them. However, if you train yourself to recognize these fleeting moments, you can gain a deep insight into what someone is truly feeling, regardless of what they say out loud. Why do microexpressions happen? Emotions are hardwired into our brains, and our faces are programmed to display them instinctively. The part of the brain responsible for emotions, the limbic system, reacts automatically, often before the rational part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, has time to intervene. This is why, for a split second, a person's true feelings can surface on their face before they consciously attempt to hide or alter them. For example, imagine a friend is feeling hurt but doesn't want to admit it. When you ask them, "Are you okay?" they may quickly say, "Yeah, I'm fine." But if you catch a brief flicker of sadness, maybe a slight downturn of the mouth or a flash of tension in the eyebrows, you'll know the truth before they even finish their sentence. The 7 universal microexpressions research shows that there are 7 universal microexpressions that appear across all cultures, regardless of language, upbringing, or background. These expressions are biologically ingrained in us and are recognized instinctively. Happiness, characterized by a genuine smile, Duchenne smile, where both the mouth and eyes are engaged. The eyes crinkle at the corners and the cheeks lift. Sadness, marked by drooping eyelids, a slight downturn of the mouth, and raised inner eyebrows. A person trying to hide sadness might momentarily press their lips together before forcing a smile. Anger, displayed through furrowed brows, tightened lips, and a tense jaw. A subtle microexpression of anger might look like a quick clenching of the jaw before someone responds calmly. Surprise, eyes widen, eyebrows lift, and the mouth often drops open. If surprise is genuine, it lasts only a moment before transitioning into another expression. Fear, characterized by widened eyes, raised eyebrows, and tensed lips. A flash of fear might appear before someone composes themselves in a stressful situation. Disgust, the upper lip curls, the nose wrinkles slightly, and the brows lower. If someone briefly shows disgust before agreeing with you, they may not truly mean it. Contempt, a subtle one-sided smirk or lip curl that indicates a feeling of superiority or dismissal. If you see this flash across someone's face, they may not respect or agree with what's being said. How to spot microexpressions in real life, because microexpressions happen so quickly. Most people miss them. However, with practice, you can train yourself to notice these fleeting moments and become more attuned to what people are really feeling. Here are some key strategies. Observe the whole face. Don't just focus on someone's eyes or mouth. Watch the entire face. Often, microexpressions appear as a combination of subtle muscle movements in different areas. Look for contradictions. If someone's words say one thing, but their face flashes another emotion, trust the face. For example, if someone says, "I'm happy for you," but their face briefly shows contempt or sadness, their words may not be sincere. Watch for quick transitions. Genuine emotions usually flow naturally, but microexpressions happen in an instant before someone regains control of their expression. Pay attention to these quick shifts. Observe in high-stakes situations. People tend to suppress emotions more in situations where they feel pressured, such as negotiations, interviews, or difficult conversations. These are prime opportunities to spot microexpressions. Train yourself with videos. A great way to practice recognizing microexpressions is by watching slowed-down videos of real conversations or emotional reactions. Over time, you'll become better at catching them in real time. Why this skill is powerful: being able to read microexpressions doesn't mean you should call people out on their hidden emotions or invade their privacy. Instead, it gives you deeper emotional intelligence, a better understanding of the people around you. When you can recognize the unspoken emotions in a room, you can respond with more empathy, adjust your approach, and build stronger relationships. For example, if you're in a business meeting and notice a brief flash of skepticism on someone's face, you can address their concern before they even voice it. If you're talking to a loved one and notice a flicker of sadness, you can offer support even when they say they're fine. At its core, recognizing microexpressions isn't about manipulation, it's about connection. It's about seeing people for who they really are, even when they try to hide it. Because sometimes the things we don't say are the things that matter most. We often focus so much on what people say that we forget to listen to how they say it. But the human voice carries layers of meaning that go far beyond words. A single sentence, "I'm fine," can have a dozen different meanings depending on the tone in which it's spoken. Tone of voice is one of the most powerful yet overlooked aspects of communication. And when you learn to recognize its subtleties, you can uncover emotions, intentions, and even hidden truths that might otherwise go unnoticed. What is tone of voice? Tone of voice refers to the pitch, volume, speed, and emotional quality of someone's speech. While words convey information, tone conveys emotion. It's what makes the difference between a joke and an insult, sincerity and sarcasm, confidence and uncertainty. Think about the last time you heard someone say something that didn't quite match their tone. Maybe they said, "That's great," but their voice was flat and lifeless. Or they said, "I'm not mad," but their tone was sharp and clipped. In both cases, their words were sending one message, but their tone was telling you the truth. The 4 key aspects of tone: pitch, the highness or lowness of a person's voice, can reveal their emotional state. Higher pitch often signals excitement, nervousness, or even deception, while a lower pitch can indicate confidence, seriousness, or even sadness. Volume, how loudly or softly someone speaks, can tell you how they feel. A loud voice might indicate enthusiasm, frustration, or aggression, while a quiet voice may signal hesitation, insecurity, or fear. Speed, the pace of speech, can be just as revealing as the words themselves. Rapid speech might suggest nervousness, excitement, or urgency, whereas slow speech can indicate deep thought, sadness, or even deception. Inflection, emphasis, the way someone stresses certain words can completely change the meaning of a sentence. Compare, "I didn't say you stole the money." Someone else did. "I didn't say you stole the money." Someone else is guilty. "I didn't say you stole the money." Maybe you just borrowed it. Even though words stay the same, the meaning shifts based on which words are emphasized. This is why tone of voice can be more powerful than the words themselves. How tone exposes hidden emotions. People often try to control their words, but their tone betrays them. Here are some common tonal cues that reveal a person's underlying emotion. Sarcasm, a mismatch between words and tone, is a classic indicator of sarcasm. If someone says, "Oh, that's just fantastic," but their voice is flat or mocking, they don't actually think it's fantastic at all. Defensiveness, when someone suddenly raises their voice or speaks in a clipped, abrupt manner, they may be feeling defensive. For example, if you ask, "Why were you late?" and they respond with, "I was busy." Okay. In an irritated tone, their defensiveness suggests there's more to the story. Uncertainty or anxiety, hesitation, a rising inflection at the end of sentences, making statements sound like questions, or frequent filler words, can indicate doubt. Nervousness or dishonesty. Frustration or anger, a voice that suddenly becomes louder, harsher, or more forceful is often a sign of frustration or anger. Even when words are neutral, an aggressive tone can reveal strong emotions beneath the surface. Sadness or disappointment, a slower pace, a quieter volume, or a voice that sounds heavy or breathy often signals sadness. Even when someone says, "I'm fine," a soft, weary tone tells you they're anything but fine. Excitement and enthusiasm, when someone is genuinely happy or passionate, their tone becomes more animated. Their pitch may rise slightly, their words come faster, and their voice carries a natural energy. Reading tone in different situations, tone of voice is context dependent. The same tone can mean different things depending on the situation and the person's usual way of speaking. Here's how to use tone reading in different interactions. In conversations, if someone's tone suddenly shifts mid-conversation, pay attention. A drop in volume might mean discomfort, while a quickened pace could signal anxiety. In arguments, people often sound calm when they're angry, but if their voice is too controlled, too steady, or slow, it might indicate they're suppressing strong emotions. In business or negotiations, a confident, steady tone with clear emphasis suggests credibility. If someone's voice wavers or speeds up when discussing terms, they may not be as certain as they claim. In relationships, when someone says it's fine, but their tone is cold or distant, it's probably not fine. Tone of voice is often a bigger indicator of relationship tension than words themselves. The power of mirroring tone of voice is not just something to analyze, it's also something you can use to build stronger connections. A powerful technique is mirroring, where you subtly match the tone and rhythm of the person you're speaking to. For example, if someone is speaking softly and emotionally, responding with a calm and gentle tone makes them feel understood. If someone is excited and animated, matching their energy creates a sense of connection. If someone is tense and defensive, lowering your tone and speaking slowly can help de-escalate the situation. Mirroring works because it signals to the other person that you're on the same emotional wavelength. It creates rapport and makes people feel heard even without explicitly saying anything. Have you ever noticed that when two people are deeply engaged in conversation, they often start to move alike? They may lean forward at the same time, cross their legs in the same direction, or even nod and smile in sync. This isn't a coincidence, it's called mirroring, and it's one of the most powerful yet subconscious ways humans connect with each other. Mirroring is the natural tendency to subtly mimic the body language, speech patterns, or facial expressions of the person we're interacting with. It's a nonverbal way of saying, "I see you. I understand you. We are in sync." And while it happens instinctively, understanding and using mirroring consciously can help build stronger relationships, establish trust, and even influence others without them ever realizing it. Why do we mirror others? Mirroring is deeply rooted in human biology. It comes from a fundamental social instinct, the need to belong. Our brains are wired to seek connection, and one of the ways we create that connection is by physically aligning ourselves with the people we feel comfortable with. Neuroscientists believe that mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that activate when we observe someone else's actions, are responsible for this behavior.